Have you ever encountered a hurdle with launching or growing your business? Listen, there are two things that run a business, the back end and your soft skills.
Telling you right now, if these aren't in place, you'll lose clients and you'll lose money. You don't want that? Well, you're in the right place.
Hey, I'm Dana.
Hey, I'm Sarah.
We're your hosts of the Entrepreneur Encounter, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes glance into our businesses, give you genuine feedback, tips and tricks, plus occasionally bring on guests that care about supporting you to grow your business organically and nurturing authentic relationships. Are you ready? Welcome back to Entrepreneur Encounter, where we explore the intersection of mindset and success in business. Today, we're going to dive into the world of neuro coaching, which is honestly a new topic for myself, and how it can transform your professional and personal life. Joining us today is Nicole, one of the few fully qualified master neuro coaches in the UK. Welcome, Nicole.
Hello.
Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your journey to becoming a master neuro coach?
I can indeed. So I'm Nicole Greenfield-Smith, and I head up the Confidence Craft. And most people will be thinking, well, what on earth is a master neuro coach, right? Neuro coaching is all about creating a rock solid mindset. So helping people to really master their mindset, to increase their energy. And then also one of the spins I love to put on it is to create kick-ass communication as well, because confidence and feeling good about yourself and being able to do all those things you want to do in business is always going to be part about what's in your brain, but it's also going to be about what you put out there for the world to. And I literally love neuro coaching because it is about creating that amazing balance between your brain, your body, and your nervous system that enables you to do things that you probably would never have done before. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Oddly, I qualified as a coach many moons ago, but I spent a long time working in advertising all around human behavior and why people do what they do and their thought processes and their feelings and how they manage those things. And that kind of led me down this whole route of really understanding how brains work, because most of us actually don't really know that, right? We're not taught this stuff at school. And it just unlocks a myriad of possibilities.
I love that. It's so cool because obviously we all want that confidence and we all want to communicate what we need to communicate. I'm excited for this conversation because now I want to learn more about this too. This is really cool. What inspired you to specialize in the brain and the behavior and all the things neuro coaching?
So years, I'm saying years, it was decades of horrible, crippling imposter syndrome. I mean, literally, I worked in an industry, so in advertising, that was very kind of extrovert, lots of very intelligent, out there, capable people. And I never felt like I truly fitted in. I had so much training. I'd have to go out there and I go all around the world, standing on stages, speaking about the work I was doing. And on the face of it, literally anyone who looked at me would said, yeah, she's really confident. She knows her stuff. She knows what she's doing. But that couldn't have been further from how I felt in the inside. And I realized I had a bit of a problem, actually quite a lot of a problem, because that anxiety was just increasing over time. And no matter how much training I had, so I had loads of presentations training and things like that. And everyone would just say, you're fine. And I was like, I'm not fine. I'm not fine. Inside things are not fine. They're not as how they should be. And that kind of led me on the path to really exploring how to use the work that I was doing, but applying it to myself. Because I knew lots of people, actually, particularly women, felt like I did. Like they would be able to put themselves out there and look confident, but actually they were feeling something totally different inside. And conversely, I also work with people who are on the other side of the scale, who were incredibly good at what they did, knowledgeable, but actually just couldn't quite get that out there and communicate it. So they were always the workhorses instead of the show ponies, for example. And I thought, well, this is fascinating. And actually, I'm really passionate about helping women really kind of unlock their confidence, because you can only ever go as far as your confidence lets you, right? So that's kind of what led me on this road. The first bit was healing myself. And then the second bit was really starting to apply that and use it for other people too.
That's really cool. I know I keep saying that, but no, it's really fascinating because I think we've all been there, like the imposter syndrome, because we always like, are we really that good enough? from personal experience, I can say, I know I'm really good at this, but is it really that great? I'm really passionate about what I talk about, but do people really get what I'm saying? So I think a lot of entrepreneurs and anybody has that same feeling, but I'm really glad that we're having this conversation because we are able to educate people on that. I tell people you're doing great. Like I even try to give people that boost of confidence because a lot of people don't feel that they are doing that.
Yeah. And you know what? You've just highlighted something there because often it doesn't matter what people say to you. It really doesn't matter what people say to you because it's how you perceive yourself. And the interesting thing about the brain is it's constantly looking for confirmation to back up your way of thinking. It's almost like the Google algorithm or Facebook, where you're constantly just served things around your own interests. So you'll be constantly having your own opinion of yourself reinforced because you'll be looking for that evidence all the time. And actually, other people can prevent you with alternative evidence, but unless you kind of wake up your brain to opening itself up to these new possibilities and seeing yourself in a different light, you're always going to be stuck by that. It's always going to be this invisible glass ceiling that it feels impossible to break through. And it's the most frustrating place to be, particularly if other people are saying to you, hey, you've got this, you're good. And yet you just don't feel that way inside.
So the first part resonated, I guess, with me. And this is not me tooting my own horn, but a lot of people tell me, they're like, oh my gosh, you manage everything so well. I'm like, yo, on the inside, I'm usually like having a mental breakdown about every 5 minutes. And by the end of the day, I'm so exhausted. I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to look at my phone, like nothing. So for our listeners that are essentially like Sarah's side and my side, are there techniques that you recommend to not necessarily improve flow, but maybe improve that view of ourselves to attract that more positive or to see ourselves through someone else's eyes?
Yeah, I mean, interesting what you've picked up on there. It does make sense. It's completely exhausting, isn't it? If you're fighting against yourself day in, day out, and let's face it, a lot of us women in business, we're fighting against ourselves because you want to be your very best self in business. You want to work like you don't have kids, but you want to parent your kids like you don't have a job. And, you know, everyone's relying on you and you've got all these things in your brain. And let's face it, right? We organize the vast majority of our household life, you know, all the invisible stuff that no one else can see. So things like birthdays and paying bills and remembering to put the washing out on the washing line, rinse the drying, you know, all of those things, they take up space in your head. And this is really important. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Dana, because actually this is kind of the emotional toll that a lot of women carry. Now, what I find fascinating is that within our brains, we only have a really limited capacity to hold things in our working memory. So you've kind of got different parts of your memory, but your long-term memory is the stuff where everything's kind of filed away. It can be there forever. But your working memory is the stuff that enables you to do things in the moment and problem solve and come up with solutions to stuff and find ideas. And actually, for the vast majority of us women, in spite of the fact our brain can only hold between about 5 and 7 things, 5 and 9 things, actually, 7 on average at any one time, our head's just full of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which means that in order for you to function properly, things have to drop out, right? And this is just pure biology and psychology. When you are holding so much stuff in your head at any one time, firstly, it takes a lot of emotional effort and it's mentally exhausting. So you're tired by the end of the day. But secondly, unless you can free your brain of those things, it's very hard for you to actually perform at your peak. So one of the most impactful techniques that I encourage all women to do who run a business is to just mentally dump stuff, write it down, get it all out on a piece of paper, put it away in a drawer somewhere so you can't even see it, and literally just allow your brain to focus on the things that you need to focus on in the here and now. And a lot of what I will do will be helping people to be in the present, because a lot of us spend too much time in our heads thinking about the past or the future, rather than dealing with what we need to deal with in the here and now. And honestly, one of the things I love is helping women to do more in less time. because so much time is wasted. And actually, you can kind of bend time if you've got the capacity to be here in the present and to be able to really focus. But it is one of the hardest things to do. Like, you have your family and lots of responsibilities.
For sure. It's so funny because yesterday I told my husband, I was like, I'm tired. My brain is tired. I was having a hard time concentrating. You know what I mean? And I've noticed that in itself, from experience, if your brain is tired, then you're almost leading to burnout, and you don't want that. Now, I know I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Then typically when people do feel that they're about to burn out, they start to think negatively about themselves and about what they're doing. And they're like, I'm not doing good enough or whatever. But I think stepping away from what you're doing, even like what you said, writing things down, getting it out of your brain, getting out of your head, like to get rid of it, because if you don't, you're just going to keep filling it up and then you're going to crash, and it's not fun.
No, it's not fun. And, you have to kind of think of your brains like the garbage can. I say garbage can because I'm English, we call it the bin. But, whatever size can you have, you will always fill it up, right? It's going away on holiday, isn't it? Whatever size suitcase, you can always find something else to cram in there, even if you're never actually going to use it. And you have to really start to learn to streamline and really appreciate that your brain and your energy and your attention are the most important resource that you have as a business owner. They really are, because you can't get more of it. So on a day-to-day basis, again, one of the things that I encourage every single person I work with to do is to really start to zone into and protect their energy, and to do that from the minute they wake up. Because actually, a great example I like to use is spoons. So you may have heard this used in other contexts, but for example, you get up in the morning and you've got 10 spoons worth of energy, and that's the absolute maximum you are going to get, because actually your brain takes up around 2% of your body weight and around 20% of your energy, right? It is really energy hungry. And so thinking and using the conscious part of your brain takes up a lot of those spoons. But also your spoons will get taken up by having a bad day, or the kids playing up on the way to school, or that tons of laundry you've got to do and deal with, or the dinner you've got to cook. So you've got to make sure that you really protect your spoons and you've got enough to get you throughout the course of the day. So for example, things like if you've got a really heavy day at work, you've got to come up with something, you've got to create something new. What can you do to really protect the rest of your spoons so you're not giving them away unnecessarily to other things? And honestly, it's like the most wonderful thing. I'll ask my clients periodically, like, how many spoons are you on right now? What do you need? Do you need a takeaway tonight? Do you need to have a freezer stocked full of dinner so you don't even have to think about it? What is it you need? And even just being conscious on that level can actually stop you on that road to burnout, because burnout is usually ignoring signals repeatedly. Your brain and body will be crying out to you, telling you what it needs, but we're so conditioned to push all of the time that we don't even face it until we have to face it, until literally your body forces you to stop and says, hey, too much is happening here. I want you to stop now. How much better would it be to be able to just read the signals and not even get to that point in the first place?
I love that. So I have used a spoon analogy before when I had to give a presentation on the importance of networking. So bear with me, but I did a big spoon and a small spoon. And the small spoon, I was like, what do we normally do with this spoon? It's for eating, like we nurture ourselves, I guess. And then the big spoon is for serving other people. And so it was more of a, which spoon are you consistently using? Are you continuously serving other people and not using the small spoon to fill your own bucket back up? Or is it the other way around and you're here to network and only take and not serve other people? That balance is important. We have to serve and take somewhat harmoniously so that we're getting nurtured in the things that we need to grow ourselves and our business, but also so that we can serve someone else in that room to grow their business and help them meet their goals. And then we kind of go up together. It's an interesting, I can't believe you mentioned spoons.
Actually, as a neuro coach, I would encourage people to swap the spoons around. That bigger spoon, the big serving spoon, needs to be the one that you keep for yourself. And that's not selfish at all. But basically, you can't give to others unless you're fully equipped yourself. No, you can't keep giving until there's nothing left to serve anyone. And people will get the very best of you if you've nourished yourself first. And it's almost like the plane analogy. You get on the plane and actually the masks drop down for oxygen. What do? You put on your own mask before you help someone else. And the problem is, as women, we are so conditioned to be selfless all the time, to give. Give in your relationships, give to your kids, give in your business. Now, oftentimes, there's not really much left over for us at the end of it.
Yeah.
My question is, if that's going to be the way it is, then what's the point?
I think that's a good, healthy habit is swapping the spoons. Hey there, listeners. Ever feel like you're struggling to connect with customers or lead your team effectively? That's where soft skills come in.
Entrepreneur Encounter isn't just another podcast. We're a community dedicated to helping early stage entrepreneurs like you master the soft skills that make or break a business.
Technical skills are important, but without communication, collaboration, and confidence, your business might never get off the ground to the next level.
In our membership, Dana and I share actionable insights and tips to help you nurture the soft skills you need to thrive.
Give you access to bonus content, workshops, and a network of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all on the same journey.
We'll teach you how to boost your confidence,
Become a leader who inspires and motivates your team,
navigate conflict like a pro,
to resolve disagreements without drama and build stronger relationships.
communicate clearly and concisely, get your message across, build trust, and close the deal.
If you're ready to take your business to the next level, join the circle by clicking the link in the show notes. Do you have any other habits that you recommend or encourage to contribute to long-term success for both professional and personal lives?
Yeah, there are many. I could talk about that all day, actually. But there are a few little tweaks that people can make that make a massive difference. And one of the most important ones that's overlooked an awful lot of the time is the benefit of sunlight. I know you're probably going to think, what? But actually, this all connects to focus and circadian rhythms and your brain. And what you want to be able to do is to make sure that you've got energy during the times that you need to have energy. Okay, so if you're working, for example, you need to be able to make sure that when it comes to bedtime, you can go to sleep and you can switch off and you can wake up again the next day and you're refreshed and good to go. So you replenish those 10 spoons. So actually what your brain needs to do that is it needs the neurotransmitters, which are like the little signals to say, hey, it's time to start your day to be switched on from the minute you get up. And the best way of doing that is to literally get sunlight on your face as soon as you possibly can when you wake up. And certainly within like the first hour or two of waking, because that will set your rhythm for the rest of the day. And that will dictate when your brain feels sleepy at night. Yeah. So many women will be out of whack. And particularly if you've got kids, you've been up all night. You're like, oh my God, I've been up all night with the kids. And now I've got I can't do it. I can't even think straight. Like, what am I going to do? Even in those circumstances, one of the best and most powerful things you can do is get outside, get that sunlight on your face, even if it's just sitting, having a coffee outside your front door. Just do it. And actually, I'm saying coffee, but avoid drinking coffee as soon as you get up because that inhibits those neurotransmitters. You want to wait anything up to probably an hour before you have your first coffee. So daylight, ignore the urge to have that caffeine straight away. Have a hot drink, but if it's caffeinated, wait a little bit just to let those neuroinhibitors to do their thing and suppress the sleep and allow you to wake up naturally. And that will have a significant impact on your ability to focus and to concentrate throughout the day and your ability to sleep that night as well. And it's such a little thing, but it is so powerful.
Literally, the first thing I do every morning is go around my house and open all the curtains so the sunlight comes in. I just need it.
Yeah, you do. I mean, when someone switches the light on or when your curtains are open in the morning, if you want to go back to sleep, often you can't at that point. It's annoying if your kids come in and do that on a day you're trying to have a lie. Actually, being outside as well, and you can get a bit of movement into that as well. All of it is signaling to your nervous system that it is time to go. And that is a powerful thing. It really is.
Yeah, I got to get outside. Like working from home and being inside all the time. Obviously, yes, I take the kids to school and then come home and work. But after lunch, I'll go sit outside for 20, 30 minutes just to kind of, okay, my brain needs to chill out for a little bit and then I feel better. But if I don't go outside, things don't go too well.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same, oddly. I don't know if you had this in lockdown, but I felt like almost like a caged animal. Well, I was kind of like, oh, I've got to get outside, I've got to move. And actually, again, that's another thing that your brain and your body and your nervous system needs, because as soon as you get outside, what happens is you start getting increased oxygen to your brain, which helps the neurons in your fire together better. So it actually has benefits on every level, and you will perform better as a result. It's one of those things where you slow down a bit to speed up.
That's awesome. So what exactly do you do to help your clients? Like, I know that like you're with the coaching, but what does a typical day look like with your clients?
Oh, I have lots of different clients in lots of different areas.
Okay, well, that's cool.
So at the moment, I'm running a CPD certified mindset confidence mentor course to help other people, regardless of what they do in their business. You know, if anyone supports other people, the vast majority of challenges are going to be mindset based, because mindset challenges will often present as other things. So to give you an example of that, I have a client who's a personal trainer, and people will come to her to lose weight or get fit or whatever. And most of the time they know everything she's going to teach them. She's like, they've come to me, they've done numerous gym memberships, they've read God knows what on the internet, they've got the information they need, but for whatever reason, they're not executing it. And usually it's down to mindset and how they feel about themselves, or presentations training, for example. The example I gave earlier, you present one thing, but actually the problem isn't standing up and talking. It's like an innate fear of judgment from other people. The vast majority of challenges that people have are mindset-based challenges. So a lot of the work I do is kind of tooling people up with the skills that they need to help the people that they work with. But I also have a lot of one-to-one clients, and we literally go through it in this order. So it will be helping them to understand what is going on in terms of the relationship that they have with themselves. So they start to really master their mindset and put those foundations in place that then allow them to take the behaviors that they want to take. And we will look at how to make life easier, how to increase their energy, and how to get them taking action in a way that doesn't feel hideously scary, but also creates new pathways in the brain that enables them to see themselves differently. And then the final layer, once they've been working with me a while, we really zone in on communication and rapport and what they're putting out there to people and how they get the impact that they want as well. So they're kind of the two ways I tend to work with people the most, and corporate work. You got to get a corporate work, right?
That sounds very helpful, because it's all about the mindset. If you're not in the right mindset, like you're setting the tone. So like if you say today's going to suck, then well, today's going to suck, because you're getting that in your mind that, yeah, it's not going to be a great day. So if you get up and you set the tone, because as a business owner, you want to have a great day. Even if you're not a business owner, I mean, anybody wants to have a great day. So obviously, if you set the tone, then it happens. So sometimes like in the mornings, I tell the kids, I said, today's going to be a great day, right? We're going to have a great day, because I know yesterday was kind of tough, but today's going to be better. And they're like, yeah, and I give them high fives. And I'm like, I don't know, like that makes me feel better, but to see them like laugh about it and like smile about it, I know that. And then they come home and like, I had a great day. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. Your mindset is the foundation of everything. So what's going on in your brain and that relationship you have with yourself will be the thing that everything else sits upon. And if you're on shaky ground in that respect, it doesn't matter what you layer onto the top, it's always going to feel wobbly. And this is where so many people go wrong. They will try and fill in knowledge gaps to try and make themselves feel better, particularly when it comes to things like imposter syndrome. So it will be like, okay, I'll do that extra course because then I'll have more knowledge. And then it will show the world that I'm really good at what I do. It's like a stamp of approval. But actually, if you don't have the confidence to properly execute it and to embed it and to use it, then all it's going to do is make you feel more insecure, because then you'll kick yourself thinking, God damn it, I did that. Like, why? Why am I not doing all those things I wanted to do? And it's just kind of like this almost constant delayed gratification that never quite happens. And that is why literally mindset sits at the heart of everything, because nothing else will work. It will be like a sticking plaster, like a Band-Aid, unless you fix the root of the problem in the first place, which usually for the vast majority of people will come back to what is going on in their heads.
I love that. So much. But I feel like since I launched my business, my mindset has changed quite a bit. I know Sarah and I have talked about this before when we first launched this podcast, because you couldn't see me. I talked all the time. It didn't really matter. But Sarah started off being a little bit more nervous. But over the time, both of our mindsets have shifted to where I'm doing lives on my Facebook page, which would never have happened before. And she is wanting to do more public speaking opportunities, which again, I don't think was something that neither one of us really wanted to do, because I don't like being center of attention like that. My family is on my Facebook page, so like they'll see me. And it's just so silly, but working on our mindset as an entrepreneur and like having to put ourselves out there really has guided us toward that. I won't speak for Sarah on this part, but I know I still have a lot of mindset work I still need to work on, because circling back to the beginning of the episode, I'm managing a lot of things and I still feel anxiety on the inside. I mask it, I guess, well, but I still have that like, oh man, what if I say something dumb, or I can't find a client, or I'm not doing enough is usually the biggest one. Is I feel like I'm not doing enough. Don't know how it would fit more into my day, but I still feel like I should be. So I still have work to be doing, but I've still, in the little bit of changes I've built that I can see the long-term growth of, well, now I'm doing lives and I am more comfortable putting myself out there, or at least I'm more comfortable laughing at myself for putting me out there. So for our listeners that are in the various stages of mindset and growth, and maybe are looking for a neuro coach, how can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Well, there's lots of different ways to connect with me. I have a Facebook group. So that is probably the thing I love the most, actually, because I made some amazing connections in there. So there's a Facebook group called Becoming, which is for female entrepreneurs. And literally we focus on all those elements that we just talked about. And one of the things I want to say in relation to what you were just saying, Dana, is that the mindset work is never done, because as an entrepreneur, you will constantly face different challenges. Every day is a day for learning. So that mindset work, you never get to a point where you're like, I'm sorted, it's done.
If only.
And there will always be things that will test that. So that's one of the things that I want to just chuck in there before I forget. The other ways people can reach me is through my website, which is www.confidencecraft.com. I'm on Insta, Nicole_theconfidencecraft.com. So, and on LinkedIn as well. You're very welcome to connect with me. But this is really important, actually. And you've raised such an interesting point there, that it's always about the baby steps that accumulate to more than the sum of the end part, if that makes sense. If you imagine the old conventional, just jump out your comfort zone or feel the fear and do it anyway, like the traditional wisdom around confidence and mindset. From a brain point of view, that is totally incorrect. You should not be doing those things, because actually what you're doing is putting yourself into a state of fear, and then you're doing something that your brain perceives as being risky. So say, for example, you've never done a public speaking gig, then you go straight into a TED talk. What's going to happen? It's a high risk strategy, right? And then every time you then go into another scenario like that afterwards, it's going to call to mind those same feelings, because that's how the system works. What you want to be doing is taking little baby steps in the right direction. So as you were saying, Dana, like putting yourself out there on a live and then doing some more lives and then eventually building up a podcast, and then from a podcast going on to public speaking. So you're taking incremental steps that allow those connections in your brain to fire together that say, hey, actually, you know what? I'm getting better at this. I can do this. And that is where the power lies. It's not in those huge, scary jumps. From a brain perspective, they're not helpful at all.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Because I know when we started this podcast, our listeners heard it before, we were quite nervous. That's how I felt. Like I knew what I was talking about. I had passion with it, but I didn't feel confident. Like I wasn't confident enough. I was afraid of people saying negative things. But now I'm to the point where I'm just going to say what I want to say. I'm going to educate you. And if you don't like it, then cool. I'm not going to get upset about it. That's how I feel. So I think that with anything that you do, you build your confidence over time, because I'm telling you right now, before this podcast, I would have never thought about wanting to be a speaker. And now I'm just like, where can I apply?
Wow, that is the most wonderful example of that in action. Well done. Because those things are not easy. to do, but you have actually rewired your brain to believe in a different possibility. And now you're taking the action. That's the thing that's worth noting about confidence as well, is you can't think yourself confident. So how strong your mindset. It's going to take some action as well.
It takes time.
I love that.
This mindset, this is what people will try and do. They'll try and think themselves confident. It's never going to happen. You've got to take little bits of action as well in order to get you there.
Awesome. Well, Nicole, this was such like a great conversation. I had a lot of fun. You share some great insights. Is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners? Any other tips?
Oh, just keep taking the baby steps. Honestly, as long as you're making progress every single day, moving in the same direction, knowing that actually, because confidence is a combination of what's in your head, but also the action you take, that even if you're having an off day, appreciate that your best is going to look different every single day. And as long as you're taking even the tiniest step in the right direction, you are doing what your brain, your body, and your nervous system need. And that is the important. If you want to really dig into this, then obviously I think I'm one of the only who does a qualification in this, an independent qualification. So they would be very welcome to come to me and learn all of those golden nuggets.
Awesome. Well, as always, all the information is going to be in our show notes. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.